Okay, good morning. My name is John Longacre. Currently, I'm with the Village's Fire Department. We're going to go over your new system, EPR Fireworks. A couple of short things we're going to go over today. Want to make sure that you're able to log in. So everyone's been able to log in correctly? Correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, good. So in this Zoom, we have Courtney DiCiotto. She works with Hillsborough County Fire, so she's going to get a preview of what their system is going to look like. And then we have Cindy, who's an observer. And what I'd like to do now is we want to start off with going to your profile. So in this profile, are you able to pull up your profile on the screen?
On my screen, let me look.
Yeah, minimize your Zoom panel.
Yes. So I have edit profile.
Yes. So what we do is go ahead and fill this out with all your information. And what we do with this information is if department has to make some contact with you, this goes into what's called the back office, this information. It also helps you set up a telephone number to get your password reset.
Okay.
If you look here, I have my email, I have my cell phone, and then I put in the carrier is Verizon. So you're going to want to put that in. So if you do forget your password, they have a screen on the home page that says forgot my password. It'll send you a code. You'll go back in, you'll reset your password. Just so you know, your passwords are good forever almost, because they don't require you to change it every 6 months or a year. That's how our department's set up. It may be a little different with how your department's configuring things. But we also have the ability to make sure that you are logged in for 24 hours. So for an entire shift. So if you're a captain on an engine and you go into response mode, and I'll show you what that is. And depending on how fast your data comes across, you'll be able to see the information right away and not have to log in. So another thing that's nice is you can add a profile picture. Upload the file. You can find something. I'll just put any image in there right now. And it changes that to your profile picture. The other thing that's nice about this is you can use signatures. So I have my signature in here. So if you do inspections or anything like that, it will transfer over to the signature field of an inspection report or anything like that. So it's
would
nice.
it transfer over? Sorry, would it transfer over for EPCRs also?
That's a good question. And since it's just you and I was talking, I did send a request.
Sorry.
No, I did send a suggestion into EPR to see if it will transfer over, because that would make it a lot easier. And then you would have that consistent signatures, not just like the scribble, because everybody's a pro. So we'd be able to put that on there. So hopefully, maybe they'll do that. But that's a good question. So I'm going to do the saving. In here, you'll see where we have all the incidents. And one thing, if you change the zoom of your screen, the menu at the top just gets a little smaller. So it's all consistent. Nothing disappears. So we have what's called dashboard. We're going to go over that in a minute. Depending on what your department modules that you have, we have a hydrant section. We have properties, which does pre-plans and inspections. We have the EPCR. That's going to be another training day for us. Inventory control, business intelligence. You can do a map view. And again, if your department has the training module, it'll have it in there. And with the training module, you can be linked to the Florida State Fire College. And they also just recently became associated with another learning company. So there'll be more information. So let's go to the dashboard, which is over here to the left. And I've set up a training dashboard that's going to be blank. So we can show you how to do this. So the purpose of having these, you're going to see a thing called widgets. And there's about 234 widgets in the system that you can get updated information right on top. So we want to do add a widget. So you have all these choices of information that you can get right away. So I'm going to put down daily journal, daily roster. I can go to incidents, go to the incident log, and depending on, again, what add-ons your department got, you would have work orders, which would be going in under your inventory section. So I'm going to add these widgets. Make this a little smaller. So what's nice about these is if I come up here and I click the unlock button, I can drag these widgets around. I can make them bigger. I use these all the time if I need to know if a crew member's on shift and where I can contact them. And this data, for our department, this data is pulled from Telestaff. I'm not sure what your department uses, but they can integrate the scheduling into the system. You can also move them around. You want this. So if I want to bring it down a little farther, you can move them however you want to have them. This one is incident log. What's nice about this is they have created a link. So if you want to go into a run report, you can click on that, and it's going to take you to the call.
Okay, cool.
So Courtney just had a question. I had to pause for just a minute. Courtney had a question. Are these customizable for everyone? Yes, they are. So as I said, this defaults to my board that I have set up for me. I go in, I can also look at the daily journal to see what's available. Chief Wannen has set up an EMS dashboard that you can go into, because I'll show you how you can make these dashboards shareable. So he's showing all the incidents that are going on, how many EPCRs in the past 30 days, the QC status, medications given in the past 30 days, procedures performed, and the daily roster. And what he did is, I'll go back to training. He made this shareable by clicking on these three dots, or some people call them a hamburger, but you can share these. It's going to bring up, who do you want to share these with? So I'm going to make it so the battalions can see this. I'll click on OK. And now all the battalions will be able to see my dashboard if I want to. So we have EPCR information. So it's just set up a little differently. This is how many the units have run today so far, 19. So this is a great tool to have. Again, it's a quick look at anything that you want to possibly add. Again, let me go into the. the screen. And if you go into, we'll go into the ALS. This shifts EPCRs. You can have today's, how many EPCRs you have by unit. You can look at those. So there's a lot of information that you can pull out of here. Procedures successful, how many procedures were performed. So again, you can customize this to yourself. Under incidents, you can see how many incidents per shift, my incidents today by shift, and you'll be able to pull those in. If you want to share them, you can share them. You can, but it's going to give you the list of people that you can share with. So do you have any questions about the widgets?
I don't think so.
Now I want to go into the NIFRs. Okay, so we're going to go into incidents. And Courtney, do you ever fill out NIFRS reports, or yours all medical?
I do. Well, if we're the only unit that responds, I have to fill out a NIFRS tab in my report.
Okay.
As far as like who responded, suppression, medical units, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you're familiar with filling out a NIFRS report stuff. So we will go through this. This is a test call that came across. One of the nice things about EPR is you can see the CAD data up here. So we'll first go by with the incident types. We have mandatory fields. We have some fields that give warnings. So we also have what's called +1 codes. So if we want to track golf cart injuries, because in the villages, there's a lot of golf cart accidents. So we can put that in there. Now, if you understand the way NIFRS works for now, what happens, it's going to say 322 to the right or to the left, and then number 1 after it. So then when it gets sent to the state and federal level, it just pulls off that 1. So that's for local use.
Gotcha.
Incident. So what we did, we put down the transport, provide ALS, and it automatically fills it in.
Did you have to select anything to do multiple selections, or it just selects multiple automatically?
No, you have to, you click on them.
But you didn't have to click anything additionally, right?
Correct. And because NIFRS only allows you to do 3 actions.
Okay.
The FSRS is the fire service rating system. And if we have a structure fire, we need to put that document structure fire in there. Or if it gets toned out as a structure fire. For ISO, you may get toned out to a structure fire, but you get there and it's just a smoke scare. Well, they want to document every time you're toned out for a structure fire.
Okay.
So protected property, we require that so we can track calls. And we'll put that in there. It's going to ask how you responded, emergency, non-emergency. Now, depending how your system is set up, you may have to do what's called a risk category, and that again has to do with your fire rating systems. So we have ours auto-populating with the occupancy if we want to. Depending on how your department is set up. So for us under district, we have station 40 all the way through to the other stations. We also have outside aid. So because the village sits in 3 counties, we have to, we keep track of where we're going. And because it will, again, help us understand where our calls are going. So I'm going to say outside the villages. Now this is the crazy part about the villages. We get funding from multiple sources. We have a dependent fire district. We get funds from Lady Lake. We get funds from Fruitland Park, and now we're getting funds from Leesburg because we're in those different municipalities. So this is another way of tracking where are we putting our units, and are the people we serving getting the value for the amount of money that they're spending. I'm just going to click that. Population density. I'm sure all of yours in Hillsborough, maybe the north end of the county might be suburban, but we have ours default to suburban when the calls come in. And it's a rule that we set up, and that's, again, has to do with your rating. And because the village is growing so big, there's areas that now have thousands of homes that are still considered rural. So EPR was nice enough to just default that screen for us to suburban. So because everything we serve in the villages now is suburban. And here, this is the reason a lot of our fields didn't auto-populate. So depending on how your dispatch system works, you have EFD, emergency fire department codes. There's over 5,000 of the codes. I click here. You know, abdominal pain, you have all of these. You have so many codes. And we worked with EPR, and hopefully your county's able to do this. We worked with EPR to group all these different codes into one incident type code. So with that incident type code, it auto-populates for our crews.
Gotcha.
Property, you know, you have to put in the 419 for that. And then down here with EPR, you can create custom fields. Again, depending on what your department's going to do, we keep track of some of these different types. So we keep track of the delays. So if they have anything, did this involve a battery fire? But we're going to get rid of that field because you have, state of Florida is keeping track of lithium battery fires. So you go to a page. And then it has all the information that they're collecting. And then you can do a narrative. So depending on your department, you can do auto narratives. We've opted not to do that because you just don't get a really good picture. So we'll go over to response. So when our times come across from CAD, I don't know if you know what, do you know what CAD vendor you have, Courtney?
I do not know the name of it.
Yeah, I didn't know if it's Central Square.
It's in Route. I know in Route is what we use for MDT, but I don't know the CAD system.
Okay. So all these times will come across, and because they sent it and cleared it, we don't have any of these times populated. But you know, depending on how fast your CAD system is how fast it's coming across. So when just voice of experience for different departments, our CAD wasn't coming across until the first unit cleared a call. So if it was an ambulance, it could be 2 hours before that call processed. So working with our partners with Sumter County, we went and got that time down to about 3 to 4 minutes that the data burst comes out. So stuff will be filled out. So again, depending on your dispatch center, information is going to be in there. Because we use a rostering system, it shows who the people are on the apparatus. Again, that's pulled in through Telestaff. Go to casualties. And just so you know, you've been injured, I've been injured on the job. Hopefully they create a NIFRS report. Because if you're injured either on a call or in the station, they have to complete it. So we'll put the information in there. Rid of that. So we'll go to the authorization tab. So you can pull in whoever, who the officer was in charge, who's doing the report. So usually the officer in the charge, if it's ambulance, it's the paramedic. So that's what we do. You can do QC by the information. We QC a few of the reports. We mainly go in to look for locations, make sure that information is correct. Now, another nice thing that EPR has is it tracks when information is created in here. So I'll come back to this in just a minute. We'll go to the very top. Move my screen again. So this check mark tells you that the report's complete. Of course, I'm going through this fairly fast, but this report, I do it, it's going to come up with errors and warnings, as you see. But when you click on that, you say actions taken, and you take on it takes you to where the issue is.
Oh, good.
Okay. This is if you want to add attachments. A lot of times what the guys will do or women will do is they'll add either a license plate of a car, if it's a vehicle accident, a VIN. If it's a sinkhole, they'll add pictures of a sinkhole. Now you probably won't see this icon. This is the icon that can cancel the reports. But the nice thing about EPR, you cancel it, it's still in the system. It's not deleted. You can't delete anything. And one question was asked one day of EPR staff, how long do you keep the information? Well, it's basically kept forever. This is the incident report. If you want to click on it, you do this, and it's going to pull up a pretty shoddy incident report for right now. But if you need to print anything out, it will have all this information.
Oh, like a preview, that kind of thing. All right.
And then if you want, you can print it, do that. And when you get into the medical side, what's nice, it does the same thing. So it's just a viewer, and you can actually pull up we can pull up redacted medical reports if we need to. And because it's a viewer, it's not being downloaded to your system and violate HIPAA regulations. This is an email. So if there's an issue with the report, this should just show Pete Carpenter was on here. I'm not going to send him an email. He gets plenty from me. But you can also send them outbound. So with our public records request and our clerk, I've built in the person to send this to, and they can send out the report. We have mailing lists that we've set up. We have this one, people to email when you need help with a report. Pretty straightforward. And that's this public records request. I'll go on here and it will actually send it to our clerk.
Okay.
That's the email section. If you want to search the report by certain words, you can do that. If you want to send, send it back for QC, you can type in what's going on with the report. Now, if you notice right here, when this gets emailed to you, it sends that link. And what that link does is you click on it, and if you're logged into EPR, it'll take you right to that report. Again, they have a lot of things streamlined. We click on it, and it pulls up the whole report. You don't have to search for anything. So I've taught all our staff is if you have an issue with the report, send it to me through EPR because it's going to give me that link. I'll be able to get into it faster. This here takes you to the rehab section. So we want to add items. Hold on. So anything that was used, and then this is going to keep track of the PPE and any of the rehab items that are used.
Hmm.
Now let me send an email to myself and I'll show you the other thing that authorization does. And also you'll see Longacre cell phone and me. So I can click on both of those, and if it's on the weekend or something, they can send me the report and I'll get notification. And if I'm available, I can go in and check to see what's going on. If I want to, I can send the whole report. It's a little cumbersome sometimes, but send it. So I'm going to send that
Would that
report.
be like sending the sorry, would that be like sending the preview when you send the report, when you click that
Yes.
button?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Message has been sent. Now, if I go to the authorization section, it shows that I sent an email.
Hmm.
So if I see a report that's open and I send it out and I go back in and I see that I did send an email, it may be necessary for me to send out a second email. And then I can include battalion chiefs in those mailing lists and get that information to them. So this is, if you weren't familiar with NIFRS, I would go into a lot more detail. We have 30 people starting next Monday. And
Mm-hmm.
in 3 weeks, I'm gonna be doing training, and a lot of them have no fire experience, so they're gonna have to learn, understand what the value of NIFRS is, and the whole value of NIFRS is, I stress that it helps justify our existence. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm going to stop this for right now. Stop recording.